Let's go with y'all boys, man. We reacting to 11 unbelievable events you will miss. Okay.
An asteroid striking the Earth with the force of 20 hydrogen bombs. A supervolcano posing a threat to all life on Earth.
Come on.
The last ever total solar eclipse. Life for your great-great-grandkids will probably look nothing like today, and honestly, I'm glad we're gonna miss most of it.
Yeah, me too, bro. I'm not gonna lie. If my great-great-grandkids are already alive, I'm not gonna lie.
This asteroid named Bennu is currently ranked as the highest potential risk for a serious collision with Earth.
Nah, what?
And it's headed for us right now. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory actually tracks the entire asteroid catalog we have to assess whether there are any risks of collisions.
Really?
The program currently ranks Bennu right at the top with a 1 in 1,750 chance of it hitting Earth on September 24th, 2182. Astronomers even found that there is actually a 30-year window where our orbits are so intertwined that there are 8 separate occasions where a collision could occur. At its closest approach, Bennu will be just 750,000 kilometers above Earth's surface. That's roughly twice as far away as the moon. Now, if this impact does occur, the collision will have the kinetic energy of 1,200 megatons of TNT. Now, for comparison, the Tsar bomber, the biggest nuclear weapon ever detonated on Earth, was around 52 megatons, meaning Bennu would strike the Earth with the power of 22 Tsar bombers. In preparation, scientists have actually been studying Bennu in detail for decades now. The OSIRIS-REx mission was sent to Bennu to sample the asteroid and bring some rocks back to Earth. It launched on September 8th, 2016, successfully collected a sample as you can see here, and then touchdown back on Earth just last year. The contents of the sample are currently being studied, so we don't know too much, but we do know that there appears to be organic molecules and other unknown materials. One thing is for certain though, I personally am kind of glad that we won't be around when Bennu potentially strikes the Earth.
Yeah, hell no, I don't want to be, hell no, I don't want to be here.
I want to imagine a hypothetical scenario together. Okay? Elon Musk decides that one of his children should be sent on a mission to colonize a nearby star system. He gets his SpaceX rocket ready, straps the little kid in, and sends him on a journey to the exoplanet. But this exoplanet is actually obscured from Earth, so they lose all communication with home. Their rocket is broken, and they are forced to survive on their own. His child lives there on the planet, makes his own little house, and has his own family. They spend generations fixing the rocket and doing research until 1,000 years later, they are finally ready to get on board and fly back to Earth. They make this journey home, arriving 1,000 years after that first sun left the planet, and finally, they make communications with other humans. But something strange is happening. They can't understand them, even though they both claim to be speaking English. But how can this be? Well, if I show you this document, can you read it? You would probably say no, obviously, because that's a different language. But what if I told you that was English? This was written in the year 616, and surprisingly, English looks essentially nothing like it does today. Even just 100 years ago, English was...
Yo, thinking about like the evolution of language, bro, like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but sorry about that. Look, it's kind of hard to explain, but like the evolution of language is just so, I don't know, it's crazy because like Spanish, all of them, like think about how they all came to be today, and then think about how they're all going to be in the future. Like, it's not, I don't know, I think English should stay as it is because it's already, in a sense, if you already speak it, it's a simple language. If you're learning it, why make it more difficult? You know what I mean? Like, why make it more difficult for people to learn English, you know? So just think about it like that. But I think that, definitely I think that they should just keep English the way it is, because it's not, like, it's easier to learn if it's just like this, you know, it's plain, flat.
Really different to how it is today. I'm sure you would know this if you've read any books from that time in your high school English class. Cooperate and zoologist used to be
I used to read in my high school English class a little bit. You know, back in my day we didn't have any cell phones or anything, so.
This. Diarrhea was written with ligatures like this, and the capital of Japan was, well, Tokyo, but spelt Tokyo. Because of this reason, many linguists have suggested that English and most of the other languages around the world will not be around in 1,000 years.
I don't think
All of
so.
language as we know it today, gone forever.
Really?
Crazy to think about.
What the hell?
When I
That's
say
insane, I'm not gonna
Sahara,
lie.
you probably picture something like
Yeah, the
this.
Sahara Desert.
Dry, hot, barren, hell on earth. But did you
Yeah.
know that one day it will look like this? A vast grassland filled with life. It happened many times before, and it will happen again soon. For hundreds of thousands of years,
Why? How?
this area on the African continent has alternated between desert and tropical savanna on a roughly 20,000 year cycle. This is caused by the precession of Earth's axis every 26,000 years as it moves and wobbles its way around the sun. It reached its present day desert conditions around 1,100 years ago, after slowly drying out across around 6,000 years. In around 13,000 years, Earth's wobble will once again flip, leading to the Sahara becoming green once more.
What the hell?
Now, before we continue with these unbelievable real events, I just want to quickly thank Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring this.
I don't care, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Within the next 10 to 20,000 years, an event that no living human has ever witnessed will likely occur. A supervolcano super eruption.
A
There are just 20
supervolcano?
supervolcanoes on Earth, located mostly throughout the US, Southeast Asia, and New Zealand.
What
For a
the
volcano
hell?
to be considered a supervolcano, it needs to be capable of ejecting more than 1,000 cubic kilometers of material, a truly unbelievable amount. Before an eruption, magma will collect in a vast chamber below the surface, building pressure as it does. This continues until the Earth's literal crust is cracked, ejecting the magma onto the surrounding region. For example, I'm sure you've already heard of Yellowstone, one of the most famous supervolcanoes on Earth. If this volcano were to actually erupt, unbelievable destruction would ensue. The surrounding states of Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana would be directly impacted by massive flows of magma, ash, and rock. While you might think you can run, you can't. These flows move more than 300 kilometers per hour, picking up and destroying everything in their way. The surrounding 800 kilometers around Yellowstone would be covered in a thick blanket of ash, and the shockwave, well, it would be heard all around the globe. Supervolcano eruptions like this happen on Earth once every 17,000 years on average. So don't fear. The chances of one happening in the next few hundred years is only 2%. So chances are you and I will miss out on this one.
Yeah, I ain't tripping then. Are those aliens?
Okay, I have a question for you. If you could send just one message to an alien civilization, what would you send?
Yo, pull
because
up.
we actually did.
What would I send? I'd probably send something like probably something like nah, cause I don't know, like, or I don't know, something like have you visited Earth before or some shit like that. I don't know, or maybe like, do you guys have video games or like some shit like that, or like what's your technology like, or what's the food like? Do you guys have shoes? What would you send to them? Let me know in the comments, man.
Did do this, and in 25,000 years, the message will arrive. And if someone is listening, well,
years is crazy.
This is what they will find. In 1974, we sent the Arecibo message, an interstellar radio signal carrying some super basic information about humanity and Earth. We sent it to the globular cluster M13. It was sent to celebrate the reopening of the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico. So once you convert the binary data into a graphic, this image is what you get. And if this looks like a big mess to you, you're a little bit like me, so let me take you through all the key elements. There are 7 key messages here. The numbers 1 to 10 are given in white. The atomic
Why?
numbers of the elements hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and phosphorus are labeled in purple. These are precisely the elements that make up our DNA. The formulae for the chemical compounds that make up the nucleotides of DNA are shown in green. The estimated number of DNA nucleotides in the human genome and a graphic of the double helix structure is shown in white and blue. The dimensions of an average American man, 5'9", is here in blue and white. We of course have a graphic of a human being, and the human population on Earth at the time, which was around 4 billion, is shown in white. A graphic showing our solar system, including Pluto before its demotion, is shown here, and Earth is distinguished by it being raised towards the human. Finally, a graphic of the Arecibo radio telescope and the dimensions of its transmitting antenna dish are shown here in purple, white, and blue. My question for you is, if you could personally do this, you know, send a message to an alien civilization.
Yeah, if you could.
What would you send?
What would you send?
I'm currently working on making this a reality and actually doing it. So if I like your idea, I just might send it. So comment your ideas
He's not
down
doing
below.
that, bro. He's not gonna be able to do that. He's lying.
Just over 1 million years, something terrifying and kind of beautiful will happen. Something only spoken of in science fiction.
What?
A star will likely pass through our solar system. Seriously. This is Gliese 710. It's an orange star, slightly smaller than our sun, and it's currently located around 60 light years away from us. But not for long. In 1.29 million years, this star will pass just 0.16 light years away from our sun. Comparing that to the current closest star to us, which is 4.2 light years away, this is nearly scarily close. In fact, it will be so close that it will appear as bright in our sky as Venus and Jupiter, the brightest planets. This is so close that it has an 86% chance of actually passing through the Oort cloud. The Oort cloud is just this huge sphere of icy rocks that surrounds our solar system. And at this distance, it could seriously impact some of the objects in the Kuiper belt, like Pluto. Even many of the comets that we get to watch every single year could be impacted. Astronomers have predicted that this could result in something known as comet rain, sending showers of comets into the inner solar system for millions of years. This would cause our skies to be lit alight with beautiful comets every single year. And this of course increases the chances of collisions. This is by far the closest pass-by that astronomers currently know of. But there are some other candidates that astronomers think might get even closer. Potentially
like
too
who?
close. But for now, we're probably safe. A side effect of climate change that we don't often hear about is the acidification of our oceans. The ocean absorbs 30% of the CO2 released into our atmosphere. This CO2 is absorbed by the sea water, leading to an increased concentration of hydrogen ions, making the seawater more acidic. This actually causes corals to be unable to maintain their skeletons, impacting their growth and strength. This is one of the leading causes of the slowly dying reefs that we see around the world, particularly here in Australia's Great Barrier Reef. And what's awful is it actually takes more than 2 million years for these corals and other marine organisms to recover from this ocean tectonic plates. It actually takes more than 2 million years for these corals and other marine organisms to recover from this ocean acidification caused by humans. 200 years of our actions resulting in 2 million years of destruction for the reefs. For thousands of years, our ancestors have looked to the stars with wonder, telling stories of what they see. Orion the Hunter, the Big Dipper, the Southern Cross. These constellations have guided humans for thousands of years, even helping them navigate across the vast oceans late at night. But in 5 million years, none of the constellations we see today will have survived. When you're outside at night watching the stars, it's easy to think that these stars are just fixed in place, never changing. But of course, this isn't true. They are actually moving throughout space at hundreds of kilometers per second, just like our sun. Since 2014, the European Space Agency's Gaia mission has been tracking the position of stars in the Milky Way with greater accuracy than ever before. And using this data, they created this real video showing how stars in our sky will move over the next 5 million years. Constellations will wander, leaving our stories in the past. The Big Dipper and Orion the Hunter left as distant memories. Now, we're going really far into the future. In 225 million years from now, we will finally have completed one full orbit of our Milky Way galaxy. This is known as a galactic year. Despite the fact that we are orbiting pretty quickly at 230 kilometers per second, it still takes us 225 million Earth years to complete one full orbit. Since our planet formed, Earth has completed this trip 20 times already, but never with humans on board. But we don't orbit in a nice flat plane like this. We're actually traveling more like this, tilted on a 60-degree angle. If you took just one piece of paper every single day and stacked them one on top of another for an entire year, 365 days, you would end up with a stack that looks a little something like this. And this is how far the moon moves away from the Earth every single year. It's around 0.1 millimeter every single day, almost 2 inches in just 1 year. This is because of tidal interactions with the Earth. The moon's gravitational pull creates these bulges on either side of the Earth, but because Earth rotates in the same direction as the moon orbits, the bulge causes the moon to speed up ever so slightly, causing it to slowly get further and further away. Now, while 2 inches doesn't sound like a lot, over millions of years, it adds up. In 650 million years, this will have 2 huge effects. A day on Earth will last 24 hours and 18 minutes due to the Earth's rotation slowly slowing down as a result of the moon moving further and further away. And more importantly, the last ever total solar eclipse will happen. Beyond this point, the moon will no longer be big enough in the sky to eclipse the sun completely. Currently, the moon is 400 times closer to the Earth than the sun, and it just so happens to be 400 times smaller. This means that we get to see these beautiful total solar eclipses as the moon is just the right size to block out the light from the sun perfectly. But eventually, the moon will be just too small because it's moved away from us. We will no longer get to see eclipses like this. Finally, in 1.5 billion years, something truly freaky will happen. The plate tectonics that are responsible for creating the vast mountain ranges around the world, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and the creation of new land, those tectonic plates will stop moving. It's actually true. Eventually, the mantle of the Earth will have cooled so much, preventing the tectonic plates from drifting anymore, and the effect will be horrifying. The carbon cycle completely stops, affecting life on Earth. The continents no longer move, preventing new continents from forming. The wind and weather will slowly erode the mountains here on Earth over millions of years, leaving the remaining land extremely flat. This could even result in the Earth being reverted to an ocean world over time, the entire planet covered in a cold ocean. I'm personally glad that I won't be around to see the day.
Alright, well shit. Damn, that's lit, man. That's actually crazy. Well shit, hey, I'm gonna catch you on the next one, man. That's insane, bro. I'm looking glad I'm gonna miss most of them, not gonna lie. But that eclipse one's gonna be lit, but most of them are pretty horrifying, I'm not gonna lie. Your great-great-grandchildren gonna be cooked. So are mine.